Joy in Our Town, TBN, Kansas City. I am your host, Lindsay Hardiman, and today we are joined with the Executive Director of the Hoc Group Against Crime, Damon Daniel. Damon Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's open up by telling our viewers a bit about yourself and your position with the organization.
Sure. Well, a little bit about myself. I'm originally from the Kansas City area, born and raised here. Graduated from Hickman High School and as well as University of Missouri, Kansas City.
Okay.
I come to the Hoc Group Against Crime with a little over 20 years of experience in the community that ranges from working with bullying prevention programs to neighborhood revitalization to dealing with the predatory lending in our city. And my position at the Hoc Group Against Crime as the Executive Director really is about furthering the mission of the organization and helping us realize our vision as it relates to really helping those who have been impacted by crime and violence in our city.
All right, and what is the vision of the group?
Yeah. So the vision of the group, of Hoc Group Against Crime, is to really co-create a community that is free of violence and that has a sort of village sort of sense to it.
All right, and what do you believe that there was a need for this in our community?
Well, really, Hoc Group Against Crime started as a response to the homicide of 9 women back in 1977. And it was actually assembled, if you will, to be a temporary group. That's why we came up with the name Ad Hoc. And so it was an ad hoc group of individuals that was concerned about those homicides of those 9 African-American women. And then the founder, Mr. Alvin Brooks, continued to bring that group together and respond to other issues of violence and drugs and things of that nature in the community.
All right. So, of course, he's seen a need for it back in the 70s, and now you think it's an even more need or about roughly the same? It's
even more of a need.
Right.
I say that because of over time, from the 70s to now, we've seen sort of a transition happen in our community, not only with the sort of plague of drugs that hit our communities in the 80s, and then what followed that was, the tough on crime laws. And so you had then a spur of individuals that were targeted, particularly in low-income minority communities. And so then now you have an influx of those folks who may have been incarcerated in the early 90s and that are now returning to many of our communities, but those policies are still in place.
Right.
And so you have there's an author named Michelle Alexander that talks about the new Jim Crow. So now you also have a concentration of poverty in a community that has for many years, and this is just not unique to Kansas City, but just focusing on Kansas City, when you have areas in our city that for decades have been redlined and divested in, then you have what we see now, which is the symptoms of that, right? Which is the homicides and violence.
Exactly.
And that has become sort of a generation of violence that has been passed on from one family member to the next. And so that learned behavior of dealing with conflict through violence has began to just immerse itself. And so today, the need is I would say, even greater.
Right. So what are some services that the Ad Hoc Group provides?
So the Ad Hoc Group Against Crime provides a myriad of services. I sort of categorize them into sort of 2 pots, one around healing and one around justice.
Okay.
So as it relates to the healing, Ad Hoc Group Against Crime really stands with families who've been impacted by violence and homicide. So we would stand with a mother who's lost their loved one or just have to bury their child and walking them through that process of one, understanding what grief is. And so we have licensed counselors on our staff that really helps folks understand that process and walks with them and meets them in their homes as well. And then we also, of course, do the vigils and things of that nature. And those are important because, as I mentioned earlier, there's these generations of folks that have sort of become desensitized
Right.
To the violence. And so we stand with the community to, one, raise awareness and outrage of the violent act, but also to mourn as a community. And so as a community, we begin that process of mourning, which can help mentally, spiritually, and physically for individuals to kind of go through that. The justice side of things, we are really a proud sort of bridge between the community and the criminal justice system. So we've, for a long time, have partnered with the police department, their violent crimes division, the missing persons division, and things of that nature. And so, if there's a missing kid, we help with that. We have a great partnership with KPRS, Hot 103 Jams, and they give us airspace to come on the air and make those kinds of announcements, as well as working with the police to sort of put a description out there for someone that perhaps is a suspect or a person of interest to help solve a homicide.
Okay.
We also offer rewards, a cash reward for those who for information that leads to an arrest. So we have a tips hotline that we offer to.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. And we're going to take a few moments to put some information on the screen for the viewers at home. If you would like to contact the Ad Hoc Group Against Crime, you can give them a call at 816-861-5500 or visit the website at adhocgroupkc.com. Again, that is adhocgroupkc.com. All right, so you have spoken about how the homicides in our community, but what are some other most prevalent crimes in the Kansas City area?
Well, there's a lot of crime in the Kansas City area, really in our metropolitan area, and it's not just unique to Kansas City. It's Olathe, Lee Summit, Independence, etc. And I actually just got off the phone with a mother and explaining to a mother what a trap house is. And for those who aren't not familiar with the trap house, in some cases it can be a drug house, but what a growing sort of trend has been is a sex house, where a lot of our young people have been lured in, and mostly by women in most cases, that provide drugs, and it's sort of like a party 24 hours, 7 days a week with young people who are involved in sex and drugs and are really clueless about what that outcome is going to end up being.
Right.
And so we have a lot of that happening in our city as well. More is becoming more frequent than not, especially with our runaways as well. So that's an issue of crime. But I think to sort of look at this a little differently, the other violence that's happening in our community is economic violence. And I say that because when you have a community that doesn't have access to quality education, or a school district that's unaccredited, or sort of the only opportunities in terms of economic or jobs is minimum wage, those are all sort of economic violence that continues to have us seeing the symptoms that we're here talking about today, which is the homicides and things of that nature.
All right. So being on your website, I have seen that you all have various programs. And can you tell me about the Quenching the Father's Thirst program?
Sure. Essentially, the Quenching the Father's Thirst is a program designed to help men take their rightful place in the lives of their children. And it provides some fundamental relationship building skills, conversation platforms, and it's a really in-depth curriculum that men go through to develop their own sort of interpersonal skills and social skills with their kids. So it can be something as simple as passing the ball around with your kid, playing catch, and having a conversation about girls or boys in the process, or grades. And it's that regular practice that most guys like myself, for example, I didn't grow up with a father in the house, so I grew up in a single parent home, and we know the risk of the absence of a father for girls girls are more prone to becoming pregnant at a young age, or boys are more prone to getting involved in crime at a young age as well, or increase in truancy. And so having that father figure there as a partnership with the mother can go a long way in stabilizing the life of our children.
Right.
And so that's one of the reasons why I was really drawn to that program and curriculum. And so it's something that we'll begin in 2016.
All right.
We're recruiting folks now and having conversations with folks, particularly those who are within the correction system, as well as the juvenile system as well. And so we're partnering with different agencies and having those sort of dialogues with men.
All right, well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, so earlier on you mentioned about offenders and their re-entering into the society. So does Ad Hoc offer any programs or resources to help them transition into society and avoid that stigma of going back?
Absolutely. So we have a great partnership with Jackson County and Combat and the Regional Corrections Center, along with Dismiss House, which is a faith-based nonprofit organization as well that provides wraparound services. And what we do is we go inside the Regional Corrections Center, which is the downtown detention center, and we provide what those in the sort of health field call cognitive intervention, which is essentially providing social skills, behavior skills, and critical thinking skills to those who are currently incarcerated. And what that does is it helps them think differently about the choices that they've made, the relationships that they've been involved in, and how that overall, even their environment, impacts their behavior.
Right.
And what we do, what's so beautiful about this program, is our partnership with Dismiss House. So Dismiss is able to come in on the front end and do an assessment with those individuals, which is essentially sitting down, having a conversation to help understand where this person is financially, socially, et cetera, and so that they can provide housing if needed, transportation if needed, employment, or further counseling where there's substance abuse, et cetera. And then we immerse them into that class, and it's about a 5-week class while they're inside the Regional Corrections Center. And for those who get out early, and it's we have a partnership with the Office of Probation and Parole, so it's a mandatory part of their sentence for them to come to Ad Hoc and finish the program. And so we walk them through that as well, and then make sure that they have the necessary resources to get plugged back into civic life.
All right. All right, so again, we're going to put some information on the screen for our viewers at home. If you would like to get involved in one of these programs or just simply get some information about the Ad Hoc Group Against Crime, you can give them a call at 816-861-5500 or visit the website at adhocgroupkc.com. All right, Damon. So in closing, does your organization accept any volunteers?
Yes, we do. I'm glad to accept volunteers, even interns from local universities. If you have an interest in social work or criminal justice, or even getting involved really in like the mental health field, give us a call. We're going to be doing a lot of training for folks to understand the importance of relationships, but then going out and sharing positive messaging.
Thank you for that
information. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you, viewers, for tuning in to Joy in Our Town, TBN, Kansas City. I am your host, Lindsay Hardiman, and have a wonderful week.
Hello, my name is Damon Daniel with the Kansas City Ad Hoc Group Against Crime. If you've witnessed a crime and want to report it, give us a call at 816-753-1111. There are many folks out there who have lost their lives, and most of the time those homicides are solved but unsolved, meaning people know who did it but are failing to report it. Please give us a call at 816-753-1111. We are looking for powerful witnesses that care about their community.
KTAJ TV 16 would like to encourage you to partner with TBN in collecting items for a local outreach ministry. The Grace House, located at 2638 Lafayette in St. Joseph, is accepting your gently used clothing and household items. All items can be dropped off at the Grace House Tuesdays from 7 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. and on Thursdays and Saturdays from 7 a.m. until noon. Please call 816-262-9401 for more information.
Hello, and welcome to Joy in Our Town, TBN, Kansas City. I am your host, Lindsay Hardeman, and today's topic is winter driving. As the season continues, we know we risk a chance of running into slick and dangerous road conditions. So joining with us today is Alex Wiebel of the Kansas Traffic Safety Resource Office to give us some winter driving tips for this season. Alex Wiebel, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Lindsay, for having me.
All right, so let's start by opening up and telling our viewers a bit about yourself and your position with this organization.
Yeah, I'm with the Kansas Traffic Safety Resource Office in Topeka, Kansas, and what we do is try to promote safe driving habits for teens, older drivers, and everybody on the roadways. And one of our big topics right now is during the winter driving season.
All right, so when it's snowing or icy out, how should one change their driving habits?
The big message is take it slow and when you see ice and snow. So don't crowd the plow, try to keep a safe distance between you and the other vehicles around you. Eliminate distractions, no cell phones while driving.
Right.
Other passengers can also be a distraction by messing with the radio or that sort of thing. We also just try to say, hey, increase your distance between other vehicles during this time of year.
And what is the safe distance to keep between you and another vehicle?
Yeah, the average distance between a normal driving conditions would be about 3 seconds. We try to double that during any kind of icy, wet, or snow conditions. Anybody can have a quick mistake, and then the reaction time is very limited whenever there's hazardous conditions out in the roadways, especially during this winter time.
All right, so you said that we need to look out for other distractions like texting and driving or radio distractions, but do these seem to increase during the wintertime? Do you see more people texting and driving, or do you see the lower since it is winter driving?
I think the biggest key is just having, any time you're out on the road, eliminate distractions, whether it's a clear day or if it's really kind of wintry and that sort of thing. We try to just say eliminate distractions at all times, and then when it's winter conditions, you really have to pay attention even more so than a normal day.
Right. Do you think it's safe to keep a safety kit in your car even though it's in the winter, but do you think it's good to have it throughout the entire year?
Yeah, throughout the entire year is a big key because you never know when you're going to break down on the side of the roadway, and it could be in the middle of the night when there's cold weather, any kind of time during the year when that could be a factor. Having a full tank of gas is one of the biggest keys, especially during the winter time, because you might be stalled in traffic or stranded on the side of the roadway, and you never know when you might have to get some help, whether it's on the roads or just by your house. I mean, there might not be a close friend that you can call.
Okay, and what do you think are some key items to keep in this safety kit?
Some of the key items, especially during the winter time, is having an ice scraper, and emergency beacons or kind of things that you can put on your antenna of your vehicle to signify that you're going to be having some trouble, so people can see you have your flashers on, your lights on the vehicle, so that way people can see you. That's being visible is one of the big keys. Having a blanket, water, some snacks, full batteries for your cell phone or any kind of devices you might have in your vehicle, and the full tank of gas is huge because you never know when that stranded time could occur, whether you're in the middle of the nowhere or right on the side of the highway.
Right. Okay, so outside of this safety kit, do you recommend any other items to keep? I know you said a blanket and always keeping that full tank of gas, but do you recommend anything else?
Yeah, anytime you can have, like a tire pressure gauge to make sure that you can, if you need a quick fix on the side of the road, then you can do that. Any kind of emergency beacon as far as jumper cables, that sort of thing is a great thing to have at your disposal because you never know when emergencies can happen.
Okay, and where can you get these jumper cables or anything? Is it at any store pretty much?
Yeah, any stores, can have any of these items that you could may have or need. One thing we do stress to people is to try to, know before you go and just know what the conditions are. And one of the best places to go is through the Kansas Department of Transportation, candrive.org, and they have updated road conditions. You can check to see what the map is looking like, and that way you can get on the road safely and know before you go.
I like that slogan, know before you go. All right, well, we're going to take a few moments to put some information on the screen. If you would like to contact the Kansas Traffic Safety Resource Office, you can give them a call at 1-800-416-2522 or visit the website at ktsro.org. Again, that is ktsro.org. All right, so we've talked about the safety kits and other things you recommend to keep in your car during these conditions, but what's a simple vehicle maintenance checklist to prepare your car for the winter?
Anytime you get to another season, checking the tires, going to just an auto body shop just to kind of check and kind of tune up your vehicle, oil change, anytime that you have any sort of change in the season, the weather, the tires, everything needs to be checked out to make sure you have all the right fluids, antifreeze, and windshield wet wipers to make sure that those are all clean. And so visibility is a huge factor.
All right, so we know what to put in our cars and how to get our cars checked, but let's go back to the people who control the highways. When do they start to put ice melt on the highways?
It really depends on the conditions and what they're expecting for the forecast. A lot of times you might go to the weather forecast and say, okay, if it's going to change over to snow from, say, sleet or freezing rain, if there's any kind of moisture out on the roadway, they can't put any ice melt down until it's a dry surface.
Right.
So, for instance, if it is like temperatures are dropping and you're trying to find a way to get the roads safe and clear, there can't be anything on there to wash it away. So then they just wasted it. So what the biggest thing is to have depends on the weather. If it's straight snow, they can know in advance 12 to 18 hours or even farther out to get the roads in great condition.
All right, so outside of just the winter portion of it, are there any monthly or annual checks that the state does to ensure the public safety?
The road crews are out every day, and the big thing that they check out is to make sure all the roads are safe. There might be construction zones, and they have cones that are put out and that kind of thing. So there's people out on the roads every single day from the Kansas Department of Transportation. And what they do to check to make sure the roads are safe is they do inspections every year. Every inch of the highways across the state are inspected. And also if there's anybody in the public that sees something, they are, encouraged to call and say, hey, this thing is taking place at a certain location around the state, and they'll be out to take care of it.
All right, and that number that we had just gave our viewers is the number they should call if they see anything?
KSDOT.org is the Kansas Department of Transportation main website. There's plenty of information to contact local districts, because there's separated in different districts around the state to take care of any kind of maintenance issues. If you happen to see tall grass on the side of the roadway or something, then they'll be able to come out and trim that out, or a road sign that needs to be fixed. That's what they do as well.
All right, wonderful. So being on your website, I've noticed that you also offer programs aside from giving different tips and pointers to be safe on the roads. And can you tell me about the SAFE program? Yeah,
SAFE stands for Seatbelts Are For Everyone, and it's the program that's dealt with high schools and middle schools around the state. And so what they do is they work closely with sponsors with the Kansas Highway Patrol, the law enforcement agencies around the state, and also the Kansas Department of Transportation. So there was 124 schools last year that signed up across the state of Kansas, and it started back in 2008 in Crawford County, which is southeast corner of the state, and they had 6 schools that signed up that year. And what happened is they had seatbelt use rate around 30%, and so it has increased significantly since then to make sure that they have the right tools in place to educate and enforce seatbelt use across the state.
Right. So let's say I have a school and I want to get involved with this program. How can they reach out and get involved with this, or do you all select them?
They're all voluntary. So like on our website, ktsro.org/safe is the great tool to go and check that out. We have social media pages on Facebook and Twitter for the SAFE program as well. And Laura Moore is our SAFE state coordinator, and she goes around the state to kind of educate and promote seatbelt safety through the schools and to kind of get them started. And so there's plenty of good information on the website to get people encouraged about seatbelt use in their town or their community.
Okay. All right, so for our viewers at home, if you're wanting more information about the SAFE program or just information in general, as Alex just said, you can visit the website at ktsro.org, or again, the number to call them is 1-800-416-2522. All right, so another program that I had seen on your website was the RIDE program. Can you give us a brief overview of that?
Yeah, the RIDE program is risk with alcohol and also distractions for everybody. So like that one's also just kind of drive home the point that you need to be safe on the roadways, eliminate distractions. Alcohol is a big factor that can also contribute to crashes or possibly death on the roadways. So that's also geared toward young teens and students to prevent that from happening. So they have emergency management people that come and talk to them, and also a law enforcement to kind of show the factors that come into play when you're impaired while you're driving. And so the distractions, eliminating those, and also alcohol while driving.
All right, so I know that you said for this program they focus on like the alcohol aspects because that does lead to various crashes. Do you see this lower in the winter, or does it kind of stay the same throughout?
It depends. I mean, the holiday season is obviously a time where families get together. There may be alcohol involved, and that can be any time of the year. That it just seems that there are different points, like when for young teens during the prom and homecoming seasons, or anytime when it's graduation involved. There's a lot of times where there might be more people getting together, and they might have alcohol, and that could also contribute to crashes on the roadways.
All right. Okay, so in these last few minutes we have, what are some other resources that the Kansas Traffic Safety Resource Office offers?
We offer child passenger safety is one of the big things we go throughout the year. Child Passenger Safety Week falls in the middle of September, and so that's kind of a back to school time, and to kind of reinforce that message of having children buckled up properly. And we also do car seat inspections around the state. There's several hundred stations around Kansas that have places where you can go and get your car seat inspected, installed properly, free of charge, everything like that. And also there's availability to have car seats given to people who qualify financially too.
And to get those resources is all on the website?
Yeah, all on the website. And we have a map that has the stations located across the state. And then there's inspection stations where, say you want to drive by, make sure you have an appointment first. But just to say, hey, I just had a baby, I need to get my car seat installed. We're happy to help. And there's several organizations, whether it's fire departments or police stations, or different hospitals that could help put those together. And our office is located in Topeka, and we're always happy to help inspect. We have instructors and technicians at our office too.
All right, so in closing, how do you think as a community, I know that you are working to keep safer roads, but how as a community you believe we can help to ensure safety as well?
The biggest thing is seatbelts. We love to see the percentage go up in the state of Kansas, and it's in the 80% percentile right now, which is very good. But nationally, Kansas is kind of falling behind in that regard. It's over 90% nationally, so Kansas is a little bit behind, but we've seen a lot of improvement throughout the years. Seatbelts, eliminating distractions, alcohol, all that would be fantastic to see the numbers increase. And to see that get better.
Right. Well, hopefully we get there.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well,
slowly
thank you,
but surely.
Alex.
Thank you so much, Lindsay.
All right, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in to Joy in Our Town, TBN, Kansas City. I am your host, Lindsay Hardeman, and have a wonderful day.
This program has been sponsored by the Trinity Broadcasting Network and made possible by your telephone dollars. Your continual support can keep Joy in Our Town brought to your home every day. So write Joy in Our Town, P.O. Box A, Santa Ana, California, 92711.